Hello and welcome to Against the Storm version 0.40, the Camps Update, Part 2. Unsurprisingly, one of the main features of this update are the new camp visuals. So there are new objects for the camps. They look different. They look unique. Unlike the last iteration where they kind of looked a little similar, so you kind of got confused maybe as to which camp was which. These have a very distinct look, and oops, I clicked out of it. And as you can see here in the image, can I click that, open it? No, I can't. You can see that they have different colors, and they all look a little bit like carts, or a lot of it like carts, so that they have the visual implication that they are movable, which I think is a great idea and really fits the concept well as having the different colors symbolizing what they do. So the red is the trappers camp, the purple is the just forgot the name of it. I always forget the name of that one. Not the forager, that's the green one. The red one is the herbalist camp, so you can get an idea of what each one is by just the way that they look, which I think is really great. The other major feature in this update is that the starting glade is now randomized. Some of the in different ways, the main storage, main warehouse, and the hearth are in different positions, so they're not kind of right next to each other with a space for a road in between anymore. There's potentially space for a square in between them now, or they're on a right angle to each other, so they're kind of on two adjacent sides of a square, or they're a little bit more spread out than they have been in the past. So that's going to be an interesting change to get used to. As you all know, I like my tic-tac-toe pattern. Hopefully I can still use it, at least in some form, but hopefully that will still work. But that's kind of the two major updates that are available in this update. Given the time of year, they decided to go with a smaller update, and it is indeed a smaller update, much smaller than an update from them that I've seen in a very long time. I suspect the next update will be similarly small because it'll be coming out just a few days after the New Year, so I suspect they will be taking a little bit more time off and not getting as much content developed in the amount of time that they have. There was one tease though for what the update will be in January, and I am missing it now. Yes, custom mode. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I'm guessing that you'll be able to customize some, obviously, some different aspects of the game that'll be available in that January 5th update. So that'll be interesting to see what exactly you're able to customize and change that we haven't been able to do so far. So just a quick pass through the changelog. In addition to the new layouts and the new carts, they added 4 new cornerstones. These are kind of themed around tied to the newcomers system, so that when just to kind of change up the way that the cornerstones, or the way that the newcomers work, so you can get newcomers quicker now, because they've also changed the newcomer system. Now, if you get there's 10 minutes between, so one standard year between each newcomer faction or caravan. So when you finally accept the caravan, you have to wait 10 more minutes. So it's kind of similar to the way the traders work before you get another caravan of newcomers. So there's no more of I'm going to keep a hold of this group until the end of the storm, take them, and then turn around and take the next group in the beginning of the next drizzle. You can't do that anymore. You're going to wait 10 more minutes. So that's actually better because it balances it a little bit, and it takes away that sort of exploit where you can go almost a whole year with no extra people, and then all of a sudden get two caravans worth of extra people, basically at once. So therefore, the newcomer button is going to stay on the HUD in the upper right corner for good after the first group arrives. And it'll tell you then how much time you have until the next group arrives. I'm assuming, I haven't looked yet, but I'm assuming it'll be a little bit of a dial or the countdown timer or something along that line, kind of similar to what you see when you click on the trading post and to see when the next trader is coming. Only it'll be visible all the time, which is kind of good. They've also added the ability to limit the storage in different crafting buildings and gathering buildings. There's a slider on the capacity bar, so if you want, let's say you have a bunch of bonus storages, but you want the, you want the crude workstation to go back and forth faster so that you can get those small amounts of, crappy recipe building materials to your storage much more often. You can set that down to 3 or 5 or something like that so that they make that trip more often, which then also gives you access to those items sooner. So you don't have to go in and necessarily click the Deliver Now button. You can also then save those internal storage limits automatically by a checkbox in the options menu. And we can actually take a look at that because it's not launching the game. I'm guessing it's going to be here in gameplay. Save internal storage limits. So that's on by default, which is good. And there was one other change to another option that we'll have to look for here in the options menu, which was the fuel. You can save the fuel behavior. So allow fuel by default here. One strategy that's oft stated to me that I always forget about is turn off the coal and the oil consumption at the beginning. That way you have those kept for later events, for example. So maybe we only burn wood, or even sea-marrow too. Maybe that we only burn wood at the beginning of the game. Maybe later you can turn coal on or turn sea-marrow oil on when you have more. But by default, when the game starts, maybe you just want to burn wood instead of burning the other items. So that's kind of an option there as well, and I may keep them that way, as well as keeping this save internal storage limits turned on. And I kind of wish they would just have a checkbox for that for the recipes as well, instead of having to click that save button every time. I would just rather have it automatically save and then have to overwrite it if I don't want it, or at least have the option to tell it to automatically save or not. So maybe I should suggest that so that they put that in the next update, or in a later update anyway. They cleaned up, or they made the tooltips for when a villager dies a little more explanatory as to what event killed them, whether it's a glade event or one of the effects from the Forest Mysteries or something along that line. So that's kind of useful too, and that'd be nice to have. Hopefully you don't have it happen too often, but that would be nice to have. And then finally, orders will display the name of the hub level that they want, not just the number like 1, 2, or 3 in the HUD. So that's kind of nice too. Instead of just seeing hubs 2, 0 of 2, now it'll be neighborhood 2 or whatever the level is, the name of the level, instead of just hubs, which is kind of nice. That's the display over here of the tracked orders on the side. And then they fixed a bunch of they ran a bunch of bug fixes, but I'm not going to go through those. So as you can tell, this is a very small. They also added new music and new sound effects too. So keep your ears open for those. So this was, as I mentioned at the beginning, a small update. We're anticipating the next update with the custom mode to be interesting, since they're teasing it, and we'll see what that looks like in a couple of weeks. So watch out for a video for version 0.41. So that's it for now. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in game. Bye for now.